All right, everyone, real quick video. So on our last podcast, the episode, we had some technical difficulties. We clipped out about 4 minutes, 3.5, 4 minutes of the video. So I just want to do this little intro just to let you know what you kind of missed so it doesn't start you off kind of crazy. So we were talking about the Olympics, and a couple issues with the Olympics is that right now with the American sprinter that tested positive for marijuana, and how social media has kind of been split on it. It's either that the argument is that it shouldn't have any issues because it's illegal in most states, and it's a substance that is socially accepted now in many places and legal in many states. And the other argument is that it's still against the rules, and it's still something that the Olympic Committee is drug testing for, and it's something that the agreement that you sign on that you still shouldn't do. So this is kind of where Cody takes it up and gives his opinion on it. And again, hope you guys continue to support, follow, subscribe, and again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. We had some issues, but it's a good episode, so hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
It's not a performance enhancer, right? So like I said, I'm happy for her that it was marijuana and it wasn't like steroids or anything like that, because nobody can take away the race that she previously won. That was all her. But a rule's a rule, and if the Olympics came out and said, look, you can't drink caffeine, right? While you're participating in the Olympic Games and athletes drink caffeine, that's on them. You know what the rules are, follow. So I can't say that I disagree with the decision by the Olympic Committee, because again, it's their rules. If she knew the consequences of breaking those rules, and she made that choice. But I agree with Tori. I think she'll come back. It's not something that's going to be held against her to a point of doing her career or anything like that. I think that she's young enough that we'll see her in 4 years, hopefully faster,
ready to break some records.
Yeah, ready to break some records.
I mean, she was favored to win the gold
in
two of her events. I'm pretty sure that she's. And I just echo both of you on the topic. I mean, it's sad. It really is. It's sad.
It is, because the community was behind this young lady. I think everybody could just see how emotionally she performed and how much it meant to her.
And she's definitely, she knows she messed up.
I'm sure.
Statements that she's put out, and people say, well, she was reading her mother's, death of her mom, and I get it, and it's like, but,
Right. And like I said, man, earlier, it's just the fact that she was winning in such an amazing fashion,
right,
that she just caught the world's attention, and being in the spotlight, your mistakes are magnified. You know what I'm saying? And people don't really understand that. They give you all the glory when everything is going good, and then a little slip up. It's a little slip up, but in the spotlight, it's a major slip up. And then with the consequences at hand.
Yeah, this would have been for a national meet or something that would have never been you'd have never heard about it.
Right.
You'd have heard about it when the next Olympics came and they said 3 years ago she tested positive for marijuana and didn't compete in this meet. You'd have never heard about it and never made national.
Right.
Now wasn't she eligible to run in the relay, but the team said like she'd be eligible and ready to go? They said if they weren't letting her run or something like that.
Well, she didn't get picked.
She didn't make the roster.
Yeah, she didn't make the roster.
Well, and I read some other articles that the United States Olympic team, right, the people that make the roster, let's say, chose not to put her on the team because they were scared that once they submitted it, that they would pull her off anyway because of the field drug testing. So they were like, let's not go through all that and have to pull up somebody that was going to be on it, because there's a good chance that
person isn't working out.
Well, there's an American Olympic Committee, and there's
correct.
the World Olympic Committee.
Right. And that's when they were scared that when it came to her race, because that's the test that she failed, and they were like, the Olympic Committee said, nope, you're out. And then the United States team, when they picked the relay competitor, said, we're not going to put on the roster because they probably won't allow her on anyway once we submit who our criteria.
I'm going to tell you, and Tori, maybe you can correct me. Have you ever coached sprinters?
Sprinters?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't either, but I guess just kind of watching, being around track and stuff. The scary thing about ladies competitors, and maybe she seems a little slow out of the blocks.
I think one race she was slow out.
But I watched a few, and she seemed like she turns it on after about the first 20 yards or so that she's sprinting, anybody touching her. Imagine if she gets as fast out of the blocks as she is in the second half of her sprint.
So
she's going to be unbeatable.
Right.
And pretty much unbeatable.
Right. Imagine, but and I'm not a pro coach. I'm not a, don't get me wrong. It just from my novice eyes watching the race, she's a little bit slower than some of the other competitors out of blocks. So,
right.
And if she can improve that, oh my God,
it'll be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I mean, we actually played with some great athletes that just had it, and they never really practiced on it, like, for instance, Claude Johnson, like, man, this guy was superhuman when we was playing sports.
Yeah.
And yeah, he destroyed the weight room. I ain't gonna lie, but when we did anything as far as him running, it just was natural to him. You know what I'm saying? It was just natural to him. Another one was Andrew Cole. Like, man, Andrew never talked, but if you put the helmet on him or put him on the track, it was just natural. So to take it up a level as far as her coming out the blocks, like, that was just natural until Coach Brown came. And then we started putting in the days after practice, the Saturday mornings after film, while everybody else going home. We running drills with Coach Brown and doing stuff. And then you saw our sophomore year or our junior year, Andrew just
that relay team
lights out.
Ridiculous.
Relay team lights out. Even think about it, Bo Crochet, we used to call him White Lightning. And he wasn't that fast until we started doing those drills. So
and until Coach Brown got there, because he even helped us out as linemen with just not just naturally run and teach you how to actually run.
Right.
That was the first coach that I had ever had that took the time to say, look, guys, we got to learn how to run. I've never been running,
all my life.
All my life. He's like, but there's ways to run for speed and quickness. So yeah, that's definitely
so
that was the first one to my eyes.
Right. So my thing with her is, even when we followed her at LSU, she was just outstanding. So as a freshman at LSU, you're outstanding. So think about that mindset in high school. You're just destroying everything. So her work ethic or just the attention to detail, I don't know her personally, so I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about her in a negative sight. But when it's just so natural, the little things that make you great, you kind of look over it. Right. So you noticing that, and half of the world noticing that, I'm pretty sure
that was a thing. I don't.
Well, coming slow out the block.
Yeah,
a lot of people talking about
I didn't know that.
Yes, a lot of people have been talking about the slow out the block. So that may be something she may work on, and hey, 4 years from now, the next Olympics.
Yeah, she's young enough,
man.
She's
right.
And like I said, I'm just glad it wasn't performance enhancing stuff.
Right.
Because that would have been detrimental.
That's another one. Just one more thing with a lot of the comparisons that I was reading on social media was her and Michael Phelps. In today's day and age, everybody has to compare race. If a white person does something, then they have to. If a black person does something, it's back and forth. It's tick for tack. It drives me crazy. But that's what we talk about today. So that's what I want to bring up. The argument that nothing happened to him, and it was like, well, number one, it was after
the Olympics.
Right.
Wait, it was like a year after the Olympics, and
that hurt him. That hurt him. Like there was not this outpour of love and support from Michael Phelps
because of what it was at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What's the different views of society?
Right. And man,
sponsors started pulling back from him and stuff. Right.
But he lost everybody.
Yeah, he lost a lot of sponsors.
Right.
But he didn't do anything but come back and show him up. You have to stop patronizing people, man, off of what they do. I understand things are illegal. I understand that it's everyone's opinion. But man, we live in America. Like, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And we know a lot of people that's doing things and it may not be right, but it's how they're doing it. With these athletes and just coming off into life now, like, growing up, we watched Webster and people like that, and we was wondering, like, man, that man got to have a great life. But to be on set for forever, same thing with these athletes, you know, thinking I'm making my life off of sponsorship, you know, and I don't really want to go out and be seen and this and that. These people are finding things to keep them away from the media, away from doing things crazy, and it's happening to be this marijuana, you know? So you add that along with the social stress of even wanting to talk to people. Like, we got athletes not even wanting to go sit on the stand and talk to people anymore, because that's how bad the anxiety
thing and cancel culture.
Right.
I mean, it's just it's hard, man.
So it is the rules. It is what it is. But like you say, maybe it's some things that we gotta have to start understanding when it comes down to these athletes. Not just athletes, just people in general. When it's that drug of choice, maybe.
I do think that we have a really good shot at the next Olympics. They're not even testing for marijuana.
I wouldn't even have a problem with that.
I do.
I mean, do they test for alcohol?
That's the swimmer.
The guy was claiming that he got robbed and all this
the
stuff.
swimmer, Lockie.
Yeah.
He got, and that was in the village, in the Olympic village.
Right.
He got toasted. Said he got all this shit stolen.
Right.
Motherfucking nope, none of that shit happened. You just went batshit crazy on some alcohol.
And that was alcohol.
Yep,
Right.
Ryan Lochte. And he didn't even make the Olympic team this year.
Right. Well.
No, I'm pretty sure he knew he wasn't gonna make the team.
Yeah.
But it's just now. Unfortunately, I keep saying we live in America, and yes, like it would have to change on the world stage.
It will, because
not
you gotta
just,
think.
not just
So-
United States.
So there's, I mean, think of all the European countries. Marijuana is not criminalized, you know, like it
it's
is here,
decriminalized, but it's not. Yeah.
right? So I mean, it's not anything that is looked at as, I mean, there's no, I mean, I've had a cousin that's lived in Spain for the last handful of years, and it's not discussed, but it's also not anything that anybody, you know,
Well, I mean,
it's marijuana is just like, oh, just, you know, they're smoking. It's kind of handled like alcohol.
Right.
And as long as you're not acting an ass and you're not doing anything, I mean, then that
robbing
comes.
older people and stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
They don't drug test for it.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, there's no testing and employment for it, or anything like that. So, I think, and the Olympics they're slow to everything. But I mean, damn, we got skateboarding in the Olympics this year.
Right, trampoline.
Yeah, that trampoline's always been in.
Has it?
Yeah, it's one of them ones that's been in. That
I
needs
thought
to
that was
go.
a recent
But,
addition to it.
no.
I mean, it's
Maybe that
impressive.
needs to go.
It's impressive when they can do the trampoline. I can't do that.
I don't got the guts to do that.
Yeah, me neither. But
So they need to be in the Olympics.
okay.
Look at people trampoline.
Let the people
How
try.
much
They're not jumping like we jumping.
Oh no, they
They're
jump.
jumping and flipping, and I can't.
They're like
I can't
40
do that.
feet. They it's crazy.
Like, my heart gonna stop
Oh yeah.
at 40 feet. And knowing I gotta tumble down.
Let me tell you this: I can't flip on a damn skateboard either.
No, look, skateboard is one that's
I
kind
can
of.
run. I can't run as fast. as
But you know,
people.
I think the
I can
Olympics.
jump. I can't jump as high.
The only, I know we're gonna get off
I
topic
can't
here.
do a damn gymnastics.
I think the only reason the Olympics has pulled skateboarding in is because of the explosion of the X Games.
Right.
ESPN created X Games 20 years ago.
Well, don't they have snowboarding and stuff
And
in the Winter Olympics?
correct,
So, I mean,
correct.
It's kind
Well,
of like
again,
a summer version of,
that's only been in there maybe 8 years.
right.
But because the X Games, blew up in ratings and money and endorsements, so Olympics are like, hey, we need to. They got
Now, I do have a problem
That
when
audience.
the Olympics is considered taking things like wrestling out, but then they want to add stuff like trampoline.
Trampoline's been in. I'm telling you, it's not.
Well, I'm
I don't
just-
think wrestling will ever go out.
We came close, man. We
Really?
came close to losing wrestling in the Olympics. But then they sort of added stuff like skateboard. I mean, come on, man. Wrestling's the oldest sport on the planet.
the reason the Olympics was
Right.
created.
Right.
You know?
So I mean, you gotta just for nostalgia reasons, you gotta.
Yeah, I don't think
And
wrestling's
worldwide, it's a really big sport. So,
Yeah.
I know it's a long topic, but.
Yeah. Let's go to our next one when it comes to the attendance. No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
listen.
All right.
Come on, man. We're gonna save the good stuff.
Yeah, man, we saving good stuff for last.
So attendance
Stay
is kind of
tuned.
broken down two ways, right? Let's first talk about the attendance at the events, right? They have announced that they will not allow anybody at the events because of COVID and because of the recent variants and all the crap that's going on. What's your thoughts on that?
Where do you want to start? Or you want me to start?
You can start.
All right. This is my thing. and my opinion on this has not changed, man. You let people make their own risk assessment. If they want to go to the Olympics and risk catching COVID, then let them risk catching COVID. Now, when it comes to the athletes and keeping away from those people, you know, because they have so much money invested in these athletes and their sponsors have a lot of things to lose, and the athletes themselves don't want to risk catching COVID and not being able to compete. I can understand no interaction with the athletes.
Absolutely.
Not going to get 100%. But if people want to go and watch the Olympics, I say let them, you know, let the people enjoy the sport. Let them, you know, go and make their own assessment for themselves and get more risk every time. And that's my take on it.
What do you think? Do you think that? I think y'all didn't watch football. So you didn't watch football. So I was gonna bring a football analogy. When it came to, well, because there was no.
Oh, we coming down the pipe. It's just God, man. It's just God.
There was nobody in the stands at football games this year.
Right, I knew that.
But to watch that game, that took so much out of it. It was piped in crowd noise, touchdown, everybody was going wild, and you go, come on in the freaking stands.
Right.
It was a little distracting as a viewer on TV. And number two, as an athlete, you ever play in an empty stadium? You ever play? Man, that sucks. Like,
Sure.
So, Hurricane Katrina, I want to say, you know, the Saints got displaced and they had to go play a few games at LSU. Me, John, Abear, and Logan went and watched them play Tampa. And man, they might have had 15 fans in the stand. When I tell you, it was the worst high school game I had ever went to in my life. And it was, I mean, it was just bad, man. Like a Saturday morning TPR game, the very first game there, you know, nobody there because the grass wet, parents still half asleep. That's what it looked like. So just imagine the stadium these years.
these Olympic stadiums are not like, you know, these Olympic stadiums are built
Yeah, like
to
soccer
hold,
crowds.
correct, hundreds of thousands of people. How are you going to be as a track? Like, do you think that it's going to affect their performances?
Yes.
Yes.
I do. Now, I think that when you're at that level of peak performance, I think it'll affect them to a degree. But these people have been training, you know, most of them half their life for that one moment, and most of the training you do is blocking the crowd out and trying not. I think it'll take away some of the glory at the end of a race. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think they even recognize the crowd as they're running or flipping or whatever. I mean, I'm just using running as an example.
You don't
But
think
when they
that-
cross that finish line, you know, and those hands go up, that's when they're gonna notice that. Oh, you know, just it won't have the same feeling. Yeah, I just won the Olympics and I won gold. But that immediate rush of the crowd screaming your name and, you know, just, I think it's going to take away some of that.
But I'll use relay for an example. You don't think that when you were in that exchange, that heated, you know, multi-leveled thing, when a crowd gets pumped up, or, oh, you know, that gives you a little extra spark?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and believe me or not. We played in front of some decently sized crowds. I never once heard the crowd until like a touchdown was scored or something like that.
Yeah,
I never once heard.
I think it's different in an individual sport over a team sport.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that argument.
You know, it's the same thing with tennis, right? Like, most tennis, especially growing up, you don't play in front of crowds. You know, it's so
I
backwards.
played tennis in
Yeah,
high school.
but whenever you get into, you know, even, you know, good amateur and
Right,
pro
college
tennis,
and
it's played in front of some crowds. And I gotta tell you, I mean, if you go watch tennis on TV, they get, you know, the tennis player reacts really, you know, hard. And I would just, I've never been a track, I mean, I've, you know, field events, but nothing on the track.
And it was-
And watching, you know, I know watching these guys, you know, through, like we were saying, because we had a badass relay team.
Yeah.
It was like so much fun to watch these guys run. I do feel that they got that extra pump whenever we had a good crowd. Because like district meets were way different than the normal meets. And it wasn't because they ran any different.
Right.
It was because they had extra 5,000 people in the stands.
They also have more of a line too, like you want to.
I get that. I understand that.
Competitiveness comes out in you, but I mean, yes, I think it'll affect them to a degree of them not being able to break a world record or something like that with their speed. I don't know. I don't think it'll affect them as much. I think they're going to be so laser focused on the getting the fundamentals right,
Yeah.
and so in tune on trying to listen for the gun going off or you know, whatever, trying to get my steps right so I can launch myself at the right moment. I think they're so laser focusing on that they won't notice the crowd. Like I said, if you pull, well, you notice the crowd, so you let go to pull.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. Like, and I also think that, just like what you said, I think the major thing it's going to affect is the podium and the finishes
Yes.
of all events.
Now, I will say that I think for a multi-event athlete, I think the second race may be affected, right? Because you win your first one, and you got your hands up, like, oh, crowd didn't.
Yeah.
So it may,
That's a good point.
it may, that second time you got to run, you're gonna run with as much oomph, you know, because you don't have that same excitement of winning, you know. So I mean, I guess it could affect it on that end level.
So I think the crowd not being there safety wise is huge, man. You know, even with the uptick in the new strand, and at the end of the day, we all just want to go home and be safe with family. As far as the competition wise, it's no substitute, you know? Like, it's no substitute to when you see somebody coming up that last stretch and you see somebody gaining ground on, like, for one, that's energizing that person that's gaining ground, and for two, if that person in front ain't mental and they start creeping back, oh, this race is about to get interesting. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the hype of it. I mean, we go to multiple events and make these people feel like they're the king or the queen of the day when you have all this support behind you. And just like in business and family, once you got that support, it definitely changes the magnitude of the performance and the actual feeling of the race once it's over. Win or lose, you know, you have somebody there to share that pain or share that enjoyment with. So for safety reasons, I'm all for it. You know, we done went through sports all year. Everybody took their turn with nobody in the stands. So let's just top it off with this cherry.
But you know,
Maybe
this
that's
is
that.
2020.
Well, I mean,
We have it in 2021.
Oh,
Right? Yep.
These Olympics should have happened
last year.
Yep.
So my whole thing was that if you want to do all this, you should have just done the shit last year.
Right, they could have planned last
But-
year.
Everything else,
But it wasn't it. So
it was
we thinking about it. When the pandemic hit, what month last year?
well,
Depends on what country
yeah,
you're in.
correct. Because in
It started hitting hard here around March.
March is when we shut down.
And
So it would have been a
so,
little early,
so the Olympics would have been still around this time last year.
but you could have, yes. But you could have pushed to August,
Could have, but it was still new to us.
play football in August.
It was still, but
Colleges will play in August.
America played football in August.
I
It's just
get it.
Americans.
I do. I said I get it. I'm not debating that.
It doesn't they made the wrong call.
Right. I don't think, I personally, I agree with Kobe in the fact that the only way that I would vote to not have an audience is that if the athletes themselves requested it. Right?
Right.
I think that athletes' decision, because that's the only people that don't have a say in their health in this situation, right? Because athletes didn't have a say in the 2016 Olympics when they had to swim nasty sewage water in Brazil, right? That they complained about forever. Nobody.
So they didn't have a say, like you couldn't say, hey,
Oh,
I'm
they
not
had
swimming.
people not. They had people
Yeah,
bail
they
out of
said
the
not
Olympics.
Well, that's what I was.
That said, I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know, and it's like, so I don't know why. Like, I don't know if they're doing this, you know, because of health concerns for the athletes or the attendance. I'm not sure why. They just said that there's going to be no attendance at the events because of COVID.
I think that everybody, this day and age, is so afraid of legal liability.
For sure.
That's why they do stuff like this. They don't, the Olympic Committee doesn't want to be blamed for a worldwide boost in COVID-related hospitalizations, deaths.
And I get it, especially in Japan, small country, island country.
They
You
don't
know,
want any kind
you
of
start
bad
pulling all these
precedent.
additional
That's
people
what's
from
about.
different countries and different variant. Again, I get it. I don't like the last minute decision with it, because if you've had people that had plans and flights and
Right.
whatever they would do, you know, like if you were going to make this decision and you knew that this was coming down the pipe, you should have made it.
So
a
you
long
don't
time
think they're
ago.
gonna make that right? You don't think they're gonna try to get
I'm sure they will.
lost funds or
I
something?
bet
I
they
do.
do.
I mean, maybe for an event ticket, but if you booked hotels and you booked stuff like that, no,
Right.
absolutely not.
And look, one of the
Look,
biggest draws of having, because it costs a lot of money to put the Olympics on.
Absolutely.
Buy the location. Like if we have when it was in Brazil, it cost Brazil
Billions.
billions of dollars to host the Olympic Games. But with the expectation of spending that money comes, we're going to have a huge onset of people. So our hotels are going to be booked for miles and miles. We're going to have a lot
Throughout
of
the country, people are going
right.
to drive across the country.
We're going to be selling record numbers of food and drinks and
Yeah.
everything. Just we're going to recoup that money spent by having these spectators here. And that's gone. That's not going to happen. All these hotels are not going to be able to.
But Japan also knew that going into this, well, not going into it, right? Because so a lot of these Olympic countries build new stadiums,
Right,
have
yes,
new facilities, new pools.
Brazil
New,
did it with soccer. Soccer
yes,
stadiums.
they went crazy with it. They built a bird nest. In China had it. They built this huge stadium. That one stadium cost $1 billion in China to build. So yes, and so I don't think the country would make the decision not to have people like it because they want to recoup some of that money. So I do understand that. I just wish that they make these decisions a whole lot
So I
sooner.
mean, I get that, and I wholeheartedly believe that it's strictly they don't want to be blamed for another uprising in COVID.
Safety
It's-
first,
it's-
man.
it's-
Go on.
I don't even think it's so much safety as much as it's just legal liability. They
I
don't want
agree.
that bad press.
I mean, at the end of the day, they don't want that bad press. At the end of the day, we're gonna save lives. You know, so it's not, we can't satisfy everybody all the time. And in this time, I mean, that's the safest thing I would do. Even if it's the publicity, you know, just give them a break. We'll see them in 4 years. We didn't manage.
Look, I know the athletes would have been, but if they would just canceled the Olympics, all they say, hey, look, just keep training. You know, I get that. You know, because of the situation. Like I said, my whole position is that I just make a damn decision.
Right.
Make a decision, stick with it. You know, unless something changes, like a huge rise, and they go, oh no, now we can't. Okay, I respect that, but I don't respect because again, when the decision happens, how it happened and how they rolled it out, that decision was made months ago, and they just held on to it for whatever reason, I don't know, and that's what
So when's the next Olympic Games scheduled for?
24.
So it's not 4 years from 2021.
No.
It'll be 4
Every-
years.
Because we three.
Yeah.
We're three behind.
Okay, so we're not actually that. So I guess the reason I'm asking is so like the young lady who held the
I'm assuming.
she'll have 4 years to wait.
Again, I don't know. You can Google it real quick.
Right. I mean,
because
well,
the Olympics are sold to countries.
Wait a minute.
Like 12 years out, like 3 and 4 Olympics, out or there. So,
Right.
I'm assuming again it's 2024. It's every 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I assume the same thing.
Well, I think so I'm reading they're allowing 10,000 per event,
by family.
maybe
But
so.
look, that's still okay.
That's
That's
still
great.
something,
I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them even not allowing people into the country that's not athletes or with the athlete, family, trainer, friend. Like I understand that as Japan as a country, you don't want an additional million people from overseas coming into your small island country, and potentially because again, Japan is. They got hit really hard by COVID. They were the oldest country, in the world. Their population. So I get it. I do understand. Just make the damn decision. Don't wait till a month out.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So, next attendance. What do you think of the athletes? coming out and I don't want to say calling out, but they did. I don't know their names, and you can look it up real quick. They had 2 or 3 athletes that made some public comments about people of color not watching the Olympics and not supporting, their athletes.
I don't even know if I believe that.
And I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
I just, and look, I'm not, just the black people that I've been around, very, very supportive of any, they don't have to just be black people, they're just supportive people in general, So I don't know if I believe that at all. I think that if you have athletes, black athletes, whatever, competing in the Olympics, especially from their community, they're going to be supportive. I don't even know if that's an issue. I don't know, but I wouldn't assume so. I would think that you got the whole damn country behind this LSU running. I don't think it's the whole country except the black neighborhoods when you support this young lady. I think that she had world, a national support from every community. So again, I don't necessarily believe that those statements. I believe they made them. I don't.
We might not watch the Winter Olympics. We ain't watching.
I get that.
I mean, and then even now, maybe our kids are watching it because it's an actual cool thing to do. But from my experience, we don't watch extreme stuff. Like, I'm not about to watch you bungee jump. I'm not about to watch you ski. Like, that's not fun to me.
Watch the track meet.
But I'm going to watch the track meet because I can go run outside right now and say, hey, I think I can take you. I can't run outside right now and throw on those skis and shimmy through the. It's just not happening.
We watch sports that we grow up playing.
Right. Right. And that's always been that. I mean, even like I had one brother play baseball, and I had one brother watch baseball all the time, and he ain't play it. Like Brandon is an avid Cubs fan, and he watches the Cubs. Trash ass team, Brandon, I said it, all the time, man. And it used to be like, he watched it so much that in the month of April, for about 3 summers, we used to watch Sammy Sosa have the worst strikeout months ever. You know what I'm saying? It just be so bad. So it is sort of like what you play, what you watch, just like sort of what you eat. That's what you want to eat. If you're not used to seeing something different, you're not going to eat nothing different. And if you're not accustomed to doing it, there's nothing that's going to interest you. So I do believe black people watch the Olympics. I have watched the Olympics every year. I just don't watch the Winter Olympics. So that's my point.
Not just looking.
Oh, no.
I thought you were going somewhere.
No, I agree. I don't watch Winter Olympics very much.
I watch all the Olympics. Except I like figure skating on the Winter Olympics.
Oh man, you look like you would be an excellent double figure skater.
I can ice skate fairly well.
When they had
I'm not like triple axe one under that crazy.
The drama sisters.
Nancy Kerrigan
and Tanya Harding. Oh my God, man. That was like
stuff, man.
Jerry Springer, before Jerry Springer. Like, we really doing this? We really setting up people to hit you so I can get your spot?
I can see myself maybe watching hockey, I can't see. I don't watch the figure skating.
No, I'm with you on that. But like the downhill skiing,
I'm not even gonna watch the skiing with the shooting and stuff.
See, that's boring as hell because it's cross country skiing. And then I don't know the name of the actually.
I can watch them snowboarding or like flips and stuff.
Yeah, half pipes and all that shit. You watch the moguls, and you watch the downhill skiers going 80 miles an hour.
The ones that go in between the flags and stuff. I can watch that. I can't watch
in a movie.
That's legit.
Yeah. Well, I can watch.
We got the music going,
Like if I'm on the channels, they doing that downhill skiing stuff. I'll find myself watching 15, 20 minutes, but ain't gonna hold my attention. Football game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree.
Football hasn't been holding your attention, and it's about to get interesting.
So on to the elephant in the room. We'll go there. So, backtracking, you said that you said it 3 times in this conversation. This is America, and that catches me every time you say it because it goes back to this topic. of protesting
There we go.
during the Olympics. More importantly, during the podium ceremony
Yes.
when the national anthem is being played. And so I have a really split feeling on the protesting, right? And I'm going to start because I'm going to hit both sides real quick. When it comes to protesting during the national anthem, or not putting your hand on the heart, the Kaepernick situation, on a football field or on a private entity, I'm all about it, right? Like, it is what it is. My opinion has changed. Like, there's because of the argument that not everybody has stood for the national anthem. It's not something that's happened all year. It's not something that's happened at the beginning of football. Like, we've had that debate. It's not that long that this has been happening. So, but whatever. But when it comes to the Olympics, I have a little bit different feel for it. I'm still not. I get the protest, and I do. Yeah, it is. But I don't feel that you are there. Like, when you're doing it on the football field, you're not representing your country. You're not representing. You're representing yourself, right? And, correct. But it's you. You're a professional. You're doing it's a job. The Olympics is not that way. You're still considered an amateur, right? I know it's changed with the endorsements and stuff like that, but you're still considered an amateur. You're still there representing the best of your country.
It's a country
Proud
pride.
country, united, unity, we're together moment. I get the protest. I understand why they're protesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have no problem with talking about it every chance you get.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the podium, like if you don't want to, put your hand on your heart, and I get it, but why are you turning your back to what represents you, right? The country that the only reason you're there, you're turning your back to it. That's what kind of bothers me.
So she was only there because of the country.
Yeah, because if not for this country, she wouldn't be in the Olympics.
How many other countries in there?
Then go to another country and see if they'll allow it.
So your statement wasn't true.
My statement's 100% true.
All right. So the country qualified her in that event. The country
The
ran
country
her
allowed
event.
her to represent.
Did the country run her event?
No, she ran the event.
So how many other people from the country ran her event?
In that specific race?
So to get to most Olympic trials, you have to be the best at what you do,
I get
right
it.
or wrong.
I agree, yes.
So
Top three.
top three. So the country ain't running. The country ain't breathing her. She ran it. She trained. She went to sleep
To represent her.
to represent her. Her. She went and got that Olympic medal for her. You man ain't. So when you go to work for.
Ah,
your
see,
country.
that's the difference.
That's different.
That is not the Olympics. This is not.
It's at the end. The Olympics don't own you.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. They own a title. No.
No, but this is.
Oh man, nobody owns nobody.
I
man.
agree with you. I'm not
Stop
saying they
that.
own
All
it.
right. And in previous conversations, while we were talking, these are the two statements you guys made. You lose your mind. You can't believe this. Ain't nobody own nobody.
I agree
We
with
should
you.
never
I'm
ever
not-
make that statement in no debates ever, man.
I don't think he means like.
No, I'm not saying that they own a person.
What they own?
Please don't. You said it's just like when you go to work, and that's why I started this conversation by saying the Olympics is an amateur event. It's not a professional event. It's not like you're going to your job like Kaepernick.
So why you so if it's an amateur event, why you so up in arms about it?
I'm not up in arms about anything.
Right. People should be allowed to go watch the Olympics, just to watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
So an athlete should be allowed to do whatever they feel at the point that they feel their event is over. My opinion.
This is nothing. And
Right?
I'm
So if I got no training, I ain't lose no sleep, I ain't go toe to toe with the best athletes in the US to even qualify this event, but somebody that just has a few dollars and maybe be related to me should be able to come, but I shouldn't be able to do anything I want.
You can be.
I lived my life to compete.
But the country gives you the platform to compete.
All right. The country gives us a lot of platforms, but don't always go by the platform.
This is my stance on it.
What do you mean by that?
Can I give?
What you think I mean by that?
That's why I asked you. That's what I'm asking you.
So, like you said, Kaepernick was an athlete, right?
A
At a
professional.
job, right? A professional athlete at a job, right? So, your workers can smoke cigarettes in your building. They work for you,
Correct.
right? This is a professional job, right? So they should be able to smoke cigarettes in your building.
No,
Why not?
because it's a no smoking building.
Look,
So, once again,
Look.
why you would like Kaepernick to be able to do that as a professional athlete versus this amateur athlete?
can I give my say too?
No, I ain't done. So why your say so need to come?
So come
I'm
on.
trying to get my
But you got to answer my questions.
Because there's a difference between
I'm trying to get
rules
this.
of a building or
what
policy.
rules they never had? So when my guy did this way back when,
Yes.
what was the difference?
There is no difference.
So
And I'm not
why
against it.
why didn't they implement a rule then to no protesting?
So the world,
So I'm not,
Olympic
let,
Committee
let me
has-
let me just back up and clarify what I'm telling you.
The World Olympic Committee has rules against protesting.
All right.
I do. And I agree with the platform that they have put together. And this is what they say. That when you're on Olympic time, right, whether it's a podium, while you're performing, while you're in our area that we have set up for you, there will be no protesting. On your own time, if you want to step outside, talk to the cameras, wear whatever shirt you want to wear, you can protest, that's your right, and you have every right to do that. You're just not going to do it on Olympic time. And I agree
We
with
would
that.
not allow. See, we got to stop saying what you're not going to do. We got to say what we would not like for you to do.
There's rules in place.
Right, but nobody is doing it. People are doing what they respect.
Even employers, if you want to go in,
Right.
even if you want to go
No,
to
go
the
ahead.
employer side of it,
All right.
even employers have rules when you represent
Right.
your company, what you can do. And that was my whole side with the Kaepernick argument too, if we want to bring that back up. That while if I'm the owner of a football team, and I have rules in place for my work employees, and my work environment, because you're representing me and my brand, then you
Right.
follow those
I'm
rules.
representing you and your brand.
On your time, if you want to go out and protest or whatever you want to do, then that's fine. You're just not going to do it while you're working for me.
I would not
And I think that's
like
a
you
reasonable
to do
thing.
it while you're working for me. It's not nothing a person, a judge. If you can't confine me into a box, it's nothing you could not tell me to
But I
do.
can tell you not to do it, and you're
no,
gonna be
you
fired.
could. See, that's the difference. You could tell me, hey, I would like you not to do these things. It's up to me to apply by that, not you. All of you doing is paying me for my service.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if I feel like I want to do that, guess what's going to happen, Cody?
You want to do it, you're
I'm going to
fired.
do it.
Right.
Right. I already know that. But that's why I keep telling you it's the verbiage. I would like you not to do these things. The moment you tell me I can't do something, guess what I'm going to do? That exact same thing. So
Look, when I say,
I'm just
when I
saying.
say you're not, like, these are the rules. If you break the rules, there's
Right.
consequences.
Right.
I don't care how you want to word it. You can put whatever verbiage
Right.
you want to put on it.
Right.
If I say that you represent my brand and my company, you are not going to do this, or you'll be fired, and you didn't break the rules, then you're fired. It's
Right.
not-
But guess what happened,
Cody?
Cody? Guess what happened? He
What?
still did that. He still did it.
Right.
He got fired, but he still did it. So you telling him what he's not going to do, not means you're not going to
Say
do
what you
this.
shouldn't do.
But that's not what you just said. That's not exactly what you just said. Maybe at this point in your mind, you're saying what you shouldn't do. But the original Cody, the straight off the bat, was saying what you're not going to do.
You're not going to do it and still work here.
There you go. But once again, he's still going to do it.
Okay, and you're not going to work here.
Right.
So
So
I don't understand what the debate's about.
it ain't the debate. Y'all was saying that as a professional athlete, he see where he could take his stance at. But as
I don't think either one of them should do it.
I know, and that's why we having the same problem, because you got a million Codys that think you can't do things.
You
But
shouldn't.
because Cody action doesn't turn violent, the next Cody action gonna turn violent. Because he's tired of seeing it.
That's not necessarily true.
Well, I mean, it happened. It happened. It happened. It
The same
happened.
argument could be made.
Brother Chauvin, he didn't think you should do a lot of things. And look what, once he got fed up, look what happened. So we should get from the point of telling people what they shouldn't do and make a better way of
What
it.
they can't do and say they shouldn't do.
Yes,
But
yes.
there are things. But when somebody says you can't do something, they're maybe they should increase the length of their sentence and say you can't do this and still work here, or you can't do this and.
That's a complete sentence, right?
Right.
You was
So
taught
that-
that
so
early,
so maybe-
early to
maybe-
speak in complete sentences.
So maybe we should lengthen that sentence, but in regular everyday verbiage, if you say you can't do something, that's implying that if you do it, there's consequences.
How?
That's what that sentence means.
How?
You can't do this, or there's consequences. That's what in everyday
Unless you're a
talk.
cop.
In everyday talk, that's what it means.
Unless you're a cop.
How you figure? We're going here now. We're talking.
You say, because you saying an everyday thing,
everyday verbiage.
people should understand that, right?
That if you say you can't do something, that implies that there's
So
consequences.
you
to
as
your
a
actions.
supervisor in your job, when you tell an employee
Please.
they can't do something,
As far as, so I never
That's
tell my
the
employees they
position.
can't do anything. That's my whole thing. So my employer will call me and say, hey man, I'm gonna call out tomorrow, but I ain't sick. I say, man, you can do whatever you want, but this are the rules. That's it. I'm not telling, no I'm not. No, listen to me. You can do whatever you want, but these are the
I
rules.
understand.
Now it's strictly your choice. It's not me saying, no, you can't go do
So
that.
you-
or no, you can do that.
We're saying the same thing, just a different way.
it's not.
And what I just told the thing is, I'm not telling him he can't do it. You telling me, hey, if you do this, no, you telling me you can't do this.
But look,
So, I mean, you put me in my supervisor position, and I showed you my supervisor skill.
we just I don't know if it's raised different, if it's what. To me, when my parents said you can't do this,
Man, but we not.
To
See, we
me-
talking about protesting, and when it comes
to
to
me-
protesting, it's no right time to protest. You protest when you think it's gonna give you the best time.
Listen,
So-
let me go.
And I don't. All right.
Let me go
You
back to
think
all
young
I'm
people
saying,
ain't?
man.
All I'm saying is you think she didn't think that. You didn't think at this point
I don't
ain't nobody
think-
thinking about consequences when you protesting for black people. Period. I done been through enough to where I'm ready for whatever comes when I start protesting. And that's what y'all have to understand, Cody. Ain't nobody caring about that shit.
okay,
Period.
I'm fine. As long as you fine with accepting the consequences,
Right.
then protest.
Right, right. And but these
Well,
are the conversations we're gonna have too.
Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. We'll come right back to this. I started off by when I said I am okay with the protest, right? It just, I guess, when it comes to how you protest, and I know that's a fine line. I get it, right? But my position is that you're protesting in that environment, in a country that got you, like, I understand that she ran the race. I understand that that athlete got them there. But they can't do that
Why?
with any other country, right? Because those countries say they
Yeah.
can't,
Tell her to go to China. And
right?
see if
You had a wrestler.
Hey,
they had-
tell me everything you know about China, bro.
I know they're communists.
What else?
I know they're not very friendly to people of color.
What else?
I mean, we could go on and on.
I'm just saying, like, I hate the shit when people say go to another country. I hate when people say, well, go do this for another country. You know why? Because we in the same country you in. I only can tell you about the experiences that I'm feeling in America. Like when you with your wife and I'm with my wife, I can't say, hey, man, I don't like you. I won't go see what Cody's wife talking about. That shit does not make sense if I have never been there.
I think all that he's saying is show some appreciation to your country.
To what?
If you're on a stage,
So a
that's
country that you don't
providing-
like, right? Is that what you're saying?
To a country you don't like, to a country that you're not 100% positive with what they do and how they treat your people. Period.
I wouldn't compete for a country that I didn't like, right?
What you see? Because
I wouldn't.
all right, that's why you're not competing.
Well, it's
But
not-
that's your
it's
rules
not
for not
overweight
competing.
is why I ain't
But
saying-
that's the same reason you're a cop and nothing else is because that's what you wanted to be, right?
Sure.
Right. I'm just saying, I can't say I wouldn't want to drive for a company that I don't like because I'm doing what I'm doing because this is what I wanted to do. You think she said I'm going to go run for the Olympics because I wanted to run for the country?
I would not be a cop for the agency that I work for if I didn't agree with the mission, if I didn't agree with the way I was treated, if I didn't agree with things that I'm doing. I wouldn't.
So why you don't step on stuff when you see other cops don't follow the mission?
How you figure I don't?
I have never saw you bring none of that up here.
Because we don't have cops doing that stuff that I've seen.
That you have seen.
So
you think
step on something I don't see?
I'm just. My whole point is you on the job because you agree with the mission, but you never seen anything bad. But you've never seen anything bad that hasn't been brought to your attention before. And I hate when y'all want to have these conversations and make me to have to be proud of a country and make comments like I wouldn't run for a country that I'm not proud of.
I wouldn't.
And when you made that statement, I say, Cody, that's you.
Yeah.
Right, but we're not talking about you in the country. We're talking about the lady that protested. And at that point, I know you can't. And at that point, we were saying that it's never a right time. Again, right? You made it about the Kaepernick, and he's saying about the Olympics. And my whole thing is to get you to understand that
I understand
when a person gets to the point where they're protesting, that person doesn't give a lovely about consequences or anything else coming.
I'm not arguing that. I don't think she cares about the consequences either.
Right. So that's what I'm telling you.
All I'm saying is part of those consequences is having some backlash from the other side.
Right.
Whether you're protesting or not protesting,
Right.
pro-protest or anti-protest, whether you're on this side, that side, indifferent, it doesn't. You're gonna have some social backlash. Right? And if you break committee rules, you're going to have some backlash from the Olympic Committee.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So if you choose to use that platform to protest,
right,
then there shouldn't even be a debate or an argument about the consequences that come up. Because you're saying,
well, we're not really debating the consequences.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm not debating the consequences because I'm sure the young lady
I
what's going to happen.
I personally don't think that she should have done that on the podium.
Right.
I don't. That's my opinion.
Right.
And I'm entitled to my opinion just like you're entitled to yours.
But then when you start leading with because this is why I wouldn't do it.
But that's why I wouldn't do it.
And I'm just combating those same things for the young lady. Because your view of why you wouldn't do it and her view is strictly two different reasons, correct?
I would assume so, yes, because we're on the opposite
sides of the spectrum.
Right.
So we're gonna talk about the consequences. As you said that they know the consequences going into it. So and I'm only gonna bring this up, and I'm not trying to, because again, I do understand your position, and I understand why they protest. You know, my only thing, like I said, was the disrespect. But again, I get it. That's. I don't understand the mindset, but when it comes to the consequences,
you're not here long enough.
I'm trying. I mean, I don't understand. Right. Again, I look at things like you, we'll talk about it this one. I understand the history, and I don't feel it because I didn't live it. I only live it through talking with you and other people but then I also have people of color that I have conversation with that have the same stance that I do.
Right.
That say, like, you have plenty of opportunities to protest, but they have a mindset that this country is not perfect, and there's a lot of things that need to be changed, but it's still the best damn one in the world.
Absolutely.
It's the only one they know.